Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Markin Out episode 745. Unfortunately, this week, the world lost Sabu, who was trained by his uncle, the original Sheik. Sabu was an absolute icon, an innovator for hardcore extreme wrestling. He redefined that style and inspired future generations of pro wrestlers. I know Sabu, he was primarily known for his work in ECW, but he's wrestled and appeared in so many companies, WWE, TNA Impact, WCW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, All Japan Pro Wrestling. He even appeared recently-ish, within the past 2 years, I think, on AEW TV. All the companies paid tribute to him. CM Punk on Monday Night Raw did Sabu's point. Karrion Kross does his pose for main event. Pat McAfee and Michael Cole spoke about him on Monday Night Raw. The AEW commentary paid tribute to him. I mean, you could talk about dozens of Sabu matches, including his matches with Rob Van Dam, Taz, Rhino, Abyss, Terry Funk, and so many more. But two matches that I really enjoyed from Sabu was probably more so because of how surreal they were from his WWE run. ECW One Night Stand in 2006 with Rey Mysterio for the World Heavyweight Championship in an Extreme Rules match. Like, that's mind-blowing that Sabu wrestled for the World Heavyweight Championship. And even though the ending was abrupt, the match itself was very entertaining. And the other match that I want to speak about was against John Cena at Vengeance 2006. That was an Extreme Rules Lumberjack match. John Cena just lost the WWE Championship to Rob Van Dam at One Night Stand, literally the month before. And then that next pay-per-view, he's facing Sabu. And that, to me, that's wild.
Yeah, it's definitely very wild, and it's so unfortunate. I mean, it's wild that he just had his retirement match at WrestleMania facing off against Joey Janela.
WrestleMania weekend.
WrestleMania weekend, which was a matchup that was just on par with Sabu being Sabu.
Yeah, Joey Janela's Spring Break 9. It was a no-ropes barbed wire match, and that was his retirement match and his final match.
Yeah, very sad. Sabu is definitely an innovator in pro wrestling. Everybody remembers him. I like as early as jumping off the Monday Night Raw sign, just very surprising, taking everybody by storm and leading to shock amongst everybody within the pro wrestling world. Very unfortunate, very sad. Definitely a future Hall of Famer.
I have to mention his theme song from Harry Slash and the Slash Tones, Hookah Blues.
Incredible.
One of the best pro wrestling theme songs, and the sax part was done by Arno Hecht, who I've seen live in concert with Dion, and I had no idea that was even connected to ECW in any sort of way, but he's performed with everyone from the Rolling Stones, Chuck Berry, James Brown, so it's cool that somebody as legendary as him performed the theme song for someone as legendary as Sabu. It's very surreal that Dark Side of the Ring on the original Sheik literally aired the week of. So that's very weird. I think I only met Sabu once, which I was literally thinking about that morning. I happened to glance over to my DVD collection. I have The Rise and Fall of ECW signed by him and Sandman. I always regretted the fact that I didn't speak up. I just didn't have confidence back then. Still don't have so much confidence, but I didn't have confidence to speak up back then and ask him to re-sign it in silver because he signed it in black and it's a dark background. But it was at the Sunrise Mall. And actually, it's funny because that same day, Ashley Massaro was there signing for the CW network. I forget what show she was there for. It might have been for WWE itself, but there was some like big CW event at the Sunrise Mall. So she stopped in beforehand to say hello to both of them. So I thought that was cool.
It was weird. Like, I was legit watching the rise and fall of ECW when I found out.
That's weird.
Yeah, very weird.
But we saw him wrestle Sami Callihan at Dragon Gate USA during WrestleMania weekend in 2012. We also saw him appear at Pro Wrestling Syndicate during their Supercard weekend in 2013. Like you said before, I mean, you said definitely a future Hall of Famer. I really do hope he gets inducted to the WWE Hall of Fame. I've been saying that for years. He truly, truly deserves it. It's very shocking to hear of a passing like that. And we want to wish our condolences to his friends, his family, all the fans around the world. And we want to pay tribute to Sabu with a 10-bell salute.
This is Markin Out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Follow on Twitter. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Marking Out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. Spreading like this. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. We marking out, y'all. We're marking out. Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans.
Welcome, everyone, to Markin Out, Pro Wrestling Talk by Pro Wrestling fans. This is episode 745. Make sure you check us out at markinout.com. Give us a listen and subscribe, and give us a 5-star rating to go with that 5-star frog splash over at Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, and wherever else you're listening to those podcasts. Buy a t-shirt at prowrestlingtees.com/markinout. And give us a like on Facebook. Give us a follow on TikTok at Markin Out. Give us a follow on Twitter at Markin Out. And give us a follow on Instagram at Markin Out 11. You can follow me, myself, and I. That is right. It is I, and it is me and me. That is right. Dave the Rave. You can follow me at DavidPTDPT on every social media platform. You can follow Chris at Chris Sweendog on Twitter, and CamSweeney85 on Instagram. And you can follow Brandon at BTTG161. But that being said, Brandon, how are you doing? How was your birthday? Happy birthday. How was your birthday?
I'm doing awesome as always. My birthday was fine. I just watched SmackDown and recorded Markin Out, which you could go listen to on all those platforms.
Yes.
I went to my aunt and uncle's house for Mother's Day, so that was nice. I got to eat Carvel cake. It was specifically purchased for my birthday, so that's always nice to go over there for Mother's Day and have that. I also had apple crumb cake from Woodlock Pines, which I probably, maybe even more than 15 years. It might have been 15 years or so since I've had it. So I was very happy to have that. I wish I could go to Woodlock Pines, or just in general. I was going to say more often, but I haven't been there in 15 years, so... And then I went to Fogo for my birthday, used my birthday coupon, and instead of going...
Again, he didn't invite me.
Well, you're working during the day. Me. What do you mean?
Oh, you went during the day?
Yeah, what do you mean? You don't go at night?
Why wouldn't you go at night?
Because it's even more expensive.
Dude, it's your birthday.
It's
Live it up.
Ridiculously priced. No, absolutely not. But instead of going to the market table like I normally do, I decided this time... almost exclusively just get the meat. I did get some of those tiny pickles that they have. I got tomato soup, which was really good. But other than that, I stuck to the meat. Just got meat, chicken, meat. And I would say it was definitely a better experience than I've had while I'm also filling up on the market table. So I think that might be my new strategy.
Did you have it?
Did I have it?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
Did you eat all you can with the cheese?
Oh, did I hack it? I did
have
not.
it.
Oh, have it. You did say have it. I thought you were talking about me throwing up. Yeah, I did have. I had the cheese, and it's funny because there was a table sitting next to us that they had never been to Fogo before. They were apparently from New Jersey. It was the oddest of setups because there was a graduation party all the way on the other side of the room, and it was not a party, but it was a table of maybe maybe 8 or so. They were a table of 2 sitting next to us on the complete opposite side of the restaurant, but they were with that group. I don't know why they weren't.
That sucks.
I don't know why they weren't sitting with them. That was very weird because there was definitely space all around them. I have no idea.
They couldn't just pull up a chair for them?
I have absolutely no idea because there was room. There was other tables around them that were empty where they could have easily sat right there. But they were enjoying
Maybe
it.
they just didn't want to put the
know.
tables together?
I know that because another graduation party had a giant table set up together for them. So I don't know. But the point is that they had never been there before, and I said, you have to get the cheese. And they got the cheese, and they enjoyed the cheese. The cheese is fantastic.
The cheese is fantastic.
And then goofy as
what
heck.
kind of a cheese is it?
It's not.
It's
I don't
like
think it's
grilled.
mozzarella cheese, but it's something like mozzarella cheese. It might be mozzarella.
It's like
but
grilled.
something...
It's like grilled with some sort of like a honey. I don't know.
Yeah, they put honey on it.
What is it even coated in?
It's not coated in anything. It's just the cheese, and then they drizzle honey on it.
Okay, yeah, so it's drizzled in honey. Coated, drizzled.
Well, you don't have to get the honey, but it's highly recommended that you do.
I mean, why would you not, though?
Exactly. And stupid me, they came over, they asked me if I want any specific meats. I'm like, I'm waiting for the brisket. And I said it multiple times, and the guy comes back over with the beef ribs and goes, here's the beef rib brisket. And I was like, you know what? I am such an idiot. I said not once but twice brisket, and I completely meant beef rib. And the guy was so nice to just be like, oh, you're an idiot, but here's the brisket beef rib. Like he
Well, why would...
I guess to maybe...
Like, why would he...
What?
Like, why would he not accommodate you? You're the customer.
Yeah, but why would he also come over here and say that it's brisket when it's clearly not brisket?
Oh, so he was misspeaking.
No, he was giving the customer what the customer wants. Like I was misspeaking. I meant beef ribs and said brisket twice.
Oh yeah, but of course if you say that you meant this and intended this, he's going to bring back whatever you wanted.
Yeah, but I said brisket and he came out with the beef rib and said, "Here's the brisket beef rib." I think just to make me maybe seem like I was not stupid in that scenario. So I appreciate that, but I had to call it out and say that I was very much so stupid in that scenario.
That's funny.
But that's really about it for my week. I still have a few birthday things to use that I will probably be using. Not probably, definitely be.
What are you cashing? What are you looking to cash in?
Well, I still have, even though I had Carvel on that Mother's Day, I still have my free cone from Carvel. They have a lemon blueberry flavor that I don't like lemon and blueberry, but if it's free, I might as well try it. So I'm going to get that, and then I have my cake from Cheesecake Factory. I have a cookie from Subway, but I really don't need a cookie from Subway.
Yeah, what's the point of it?
I mean, the point is you get a cookie, but I don't necessarily need it.
Yeah.
And now Fogo, when you're in their reward program, because you appeared in their restaurant and used your prior reward, they gave me a new set of rewards. And if I get if I buy one full price meal, then I get the second one for free. God bless those rewards for Fogo. Yeah, not too shabby at all.
Not too shabby at all. I kind of like it. I want to go back there really bad.
It's not.
But you never want to go at night.
Fogo is like...
I'll go for a lunch on the weekend.
No, you can't because that's more money. That's brunch.
Oh my goodness. You're like Larry David over here.
No, that's why would I pay like 80 something when I could pay 50 something? It's just dumb. That's like going to Cheesecake Factory and Grand Lux when you're going, when you get appetizers. If you go there for happy hour, you can get for so much cheaper. That why would I pay $20 for something when I could pay $10 for something? That's dumb. That's just dumb. That's dumb. You have to agree with that. That's dumb.
I do. I just want to attend with you.
So, how was your week?
It was kind of lonely because I didn't get to go to
That's
go
on
out
you.
to dinner with you.
Stop working. Kick back and relax. Matt's all cool.
Yeah, everything is good with me. I'm getting excited. Next week, unfortunately, I won't be on the podcast.
Yes, you will, dumb.
Oh, I am going to be on the
Look at a
podcast. We're
calendar
recording
much?
early. Yeah, too much.
So we'll put a pin in that.
Yeah, counting down the days till Japan.
Counting down the days until he doesn't have to be on the podcast.
That as well. I guess now is the time to mention our new host.
Yeah. Here's Prime Bottle from WWE 2K25.
Yeah. Yeah. But everything is going great with me. But we did have, in my opinion, incredible PLE Backlash taking place in St. Louis. I guess we'll start off with Star Spangled Banner by Pritchard Owens.
Yeah, and the kickoff show was 2 hours long. So I don't know if that's going to be the norm now, but it seems like if they do it for WrestleMania and then they do it for Backlash of all the pay-per-views or PLEs, maybe that's going to be like, maybe we'll get a new celebrity singing the Star Spangled Banner every event.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was an interesting thing. We had the first match of the evening kick off. Jacob Fatu picked up the victory over LA Knight, Drew McIntyre, and Damian Priest to retain the United States Championship. Jacob Fatu was incredibly over with that crowd.
I mean, no surprise. I think that not even him being over at the crowd the entire night was so hot.
Yeah.
Incredibly hot.
Unless you
But
were
this
watching
matchup-
from the Galaxy, then it wasn't so hot. But we
Yeah.
won't talk about
This-
that.
No. But this matchup was a lot of fun. And honestly, anybody could have won it. And I think something big to note is Drew McIntyre almost did win it. But Damian Priest pulling he pulled the referee out, right?
Yeah. Damian Priest, Drew. So that's they which I normally kind of dislike, but I liked when they all did the finishers spot. McIntyre hit Priest with the Claymore, and Priest fell onto LA Knight, who was just rocked with the South of Heaven. And Drew breaks that up and then almost won, but that's when Damian Priest pulled the referee out. And then Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest eventually went into the crowd, and Damian Priest hit the South of Heaven off production cases, through tables. Drew McIntyre hit the back of his head. Luckily, he's fine. I don't know what the status of Damian Priest's teeth are. I know that was a big worry from everybody.
His teeth?
Yeah, something happened with maybe he was like on the verge of losing teeth or something. Triple H said at the press conference afterwards. Meanwhile, everyone thought Drew McIntyre was like completely knocked out because he hit his head and then he walked off on his own. But hopefully everything's fine with both of them.
Yeah, it was a great match.
And then after that, LA Knight went to hit the elbow drop onto Jacob Fatu to put him through the commentary table. Solo Sikoa showed up and made that save. And then LA Knight went for him, and Jeff freaking Cobb showed up and beat LA Knight down. Jacob Fatu was confused by it, but the fans went absolutely like insane to see Jeff Cobb.
So confused to see him there, and he's with Solo.
Yeah. I enjoyed this match more than I did the singles match at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that I texted you right away. I found this entire event a lot more entertaining and fun for me versus versus WrestleMania.
Well,
But
man,
next up, yeah.
I was gonna say that next match.
Yeah, that next match, Lyra Valkyria pick up a victory up against Becky Lynch to retain her championship. This match was fantastic.
It was a really good technical match, but it was so much more than that. That running fisherman suplex from Lyra I thought was nice. Becky Lynch tried to use the ropes to win, and the referee saw that. She breaks the pin. Lyra, I don't know if I want to say surprisingly or not, but surprisingly reversed a lot of Becky's moves. I don't know how many times, but I feel like she reversed the manhandle slam, I don't know, maybe 3 times or so. Might have just been twice. She reversed the disarm her. Becky Lynch at one point grabbed a chair and the referee stopped that. And then Becky Lynch went and took the turnbuckle pad off, which she eventually sent Lyra towards it, but Lyra hit the second one. Commentary made sure to note that. I don't know if that was supposed to be like that or not, but they went back to that spot afterwards, so it makes me think that they were just supposed to go to that second rope. But Becky Lynch hit the manhandle slam, which Lyra Valkyria kicked out of. I thought that was going to be the end of the match. And then when they revisited that turnbuckle, the referee stopped Becky Lynch from sending Lyra into that. And then I didn't quite like this spot. She went outside of the ring to fix the turnbuckle pad. So Lyra hit that Nightwing, and she was out of position to count. So, which I mean, it led to a good spot, but I didn't really like that. Because how often do we see I don't know. It felt weird to me that we got that spot.
I agree with you. I was enjoying the match and everything, but then so she went to get the padding, which I didn't like that she actually left the ring.
Yeah,
like she went
weird.
from the inside of the ring to the outside of the ring to get it. I didn't like that. But what I did like was that when she got back into the ring, it was maybe a split second, because then she dropped it and went into counting it.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of want to turn a blind eye to it because I really enjoyed the matchup.
I'm very much so on the fence with that spot. But yeah, like you said, this was a great match.
I don't want to be overly critical.
Right. And Lyra
not that it was over. Lyra
eventually rolled Becky Lynch up to get that win. And Becky Lynch then attacked Lyra Valkyria. But even last week's show when we're doing predictions, I think did both of us pick Becky Lynch to win? I don't think we had any faith in Lyra Valkyria, or booking, I should say. But I was very happy to see Lyra get that win. But she was the one that she got locked in the disarmor afterwards, so she didn't walk away.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I thought this was epic.
Very good match.
You know.
After that, we had Dominic Mysterio.
What did you think about the post-match beatdown?
Well, I don't know.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I didn't mind it. It gets Becky Lynch heat, and it gets sympathy for Lyra.
Yeah.
All while still having the championship, so I'm happy about that.
True.
We had Dominic Mysterio pick up the victory over Penta to retain the Intercontinental Championship. I popped at them mentioning that Dom's gear was a tribute to Psychosis's Nicho El Millonario gear, because not in a million years would I have expected to hear that name, that gimmick, be mentioned on WWE TV. But it was the cow print, if you're unfamiliar with what Psychosis would wear with that gimmick. But this match was also a really fun match. I liked Dom hitting the Oblivion at one point. A lot of people, one tweet I saw blow up say, "Oh, you never see another man hit their woman's move," which was immediately disproved. But I thought it was still cool that Dom used the Oblivion in this match. We had Carlito come out, and JD McDonough and Balor showed up to attack Penta, but Balor Man, Balor grabs a chair like an idiot, truthfully like an idiot, went to go grab a chair, took forever, and the referee caught them. And then all of them got ejected. That was such like, I thought the spot was so good because you've seen the cracks, I guess, between Finn Balor and Dominic. So for that, Finn Balor to like go out of his way to not help Dominic there, I thought that was a very well done spot. So
yeah, I thought it was a good spot. I did question how it was going to play out with that spot specifically, but I did like how it played out.
Yeah, so they get ejected, but they're still ringside. Penta dove over the referee and took the three of them out. And then Finn Balor still tried to get into the ring, and that distracted the referee. El Grande Americano showed up, hit that headbutt, presumably a loaded mask, took Penta out. And then Dominic Mysterio hit the frog splash to retain the championship.
Epic match.
Do I need all the outside interference over and over and over again? No. But this, I thought this was very well done.
Yeah, but this was just incredible. This was just incredible.
Yeah.
And once again, the fans were totally loving and eating everything up with this. But talking about the fans, next up you had Gunther pick up the victory over Pat McAfee. Very expected that this was going to happen, but hey, it was an actual matchup.
There was like bits and pieces of cat and mouse throughout, but Pat got a few hits in, which Gunther was like, I guess, really enjoying playing with Pat, I guess. But Gunther eventually went to German suplex Pat McAfee off the top rope. Pat went for a moonsault. He landed on his feet after Gunther moved. He reversed the German suplex. He hit a bunch of kicks. Then Gunther hits him with a powerbomb, locks him in that Boston Crab, and Michael Cole starts begging Gunther just to end the match. He left the commentary table at one point. Gunther just kept going. And then Gunther grabs Michael Cole into the ring, and Pat kicked Gunther to get him off of Michael Cole. And then Gunther kicked Pat. Michael Cole ends up doing that Bobby Heenan spot where he grabbed Gunther's leg for the pin. And Gunther kicked out of that, but the sleeper spot was good where Pat locked that in on Gunther. Obviously, that Gunther got out of that, clotheslined Pat McAfee, and then choked him out. And then tipped his cap. The internet hated this match. They hated this freaking match. They hated that Gunther was able to get a chokehold on him. They hated that Gunther tipped his cap to Pat McAfee after the match.
I thought this match, like you said, cat and mouse, this is exactly what I expected it to be.
Yeah,
and
I thought it was fun.
Was fun.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was fun. And it was one of those, I like the fact that you didn't know when the chops were going to happen, because, of course, the big thing that you want to see is Pat McAfee take that chop. I kind of liked the fact that we were getting chops back and forth. Very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah. But main event of the evening was John Cena picking up the victory over Randy Orton to retain the championship. Once again, I'm going to say this, fun. This match was a lot of fun. I don't care who... Yeah.
I think the first half of this was how you could have expected it to go. But I liked a bunch of stuff they did. They reused an old spot of theirs, the RKO counter from the Attitude Adjustment. I thought that was cool. Commentary did not catch that right away. And like right away, I'm like, oh my God, like I marked out. So I thought that was pretty cool right away. And then commentary made me second guess it. I was like, wait a minute, did that not happen? And then they replayed it to show the RKO. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. So commentary kind of took me out of that spot right there. But I liked when John Cena was doing his comeback, Randy Orton dropped him with an RKO. So it goes back to show that 25 years, they just know each other so well. Orton at one point sets up for a punt. And John Cena rocked Randy Orton with another attitude adjustment. And then John Cena went for a punt. And Orton reversed that, went for an RKO. But Cena pushed him into the referee. He hit another attitude adjustment. He grabbed that championship. That's a signature thing that he's been doing in all these matches. And shushed the crowd. Shushed the haters, the doubters, the IWC perhaps. And Randy Orton rocked John Cena with another RKO. Cena didn't get to use the championship then. And then Cena pushed Randy Orton into the referee again. Went to put Randy Orton through the commentary table, but Randy Orton got out of that. He hit an attitude adjustment onto the table. And then that table didn't quite break. Randy Orton set up another table, hit the attitude adjustment through it. So we got 2 of those spots from Orton. I thought that was interesting.
I am going to say that table spot, I'm very happy. I feel like that was not supposed to happen.
I don't know if we've ever seen that new table break before, though.
So I feel like what happened was it was supposed to be a spot through the commentary table, obviously.
I mean, it's possible.
And I think Randy Orton and John Cena, because of their expertise of pro wrestling, Randy Orton right away knew the fans wanted to see a table break. So what did he do? He went underneath the ring to find a table. And he found the table, set it up, and then they did the exact same spot through that table. I thought it was great.
And then Orton hit another RKO, and another referee finally freaking runs down. Cena kicks out of it, and Cena went to hit Randy Orton with the championship. He hits the referee instead. And then Orton hit another RKO. Nick Aldis and a bunch of officials ran down to check on the referee, and Orton ends up dropping Nick Aldis. He dropped Jamie Noble, Daivari, Hurricane, and also some random, an indie wrestler, I guess. I don't know why he was part of that segment. But Randy Orton sets up to punt John Cena. And R-Truth ran down to stop it, so he gets dropped with an RKO. And then John Cena low-blowed Randy Orton. He used the championship, and he retained the championship. Very, very, very overbooked, but I enjoyed all of that, except for the beginning portion of the match.
Overbooked, yes, but just like you, I enjoyed it. I thought that this was a lot of fun. I thought that they played the hits perfectly. It wasn't a 5-star match, but I knew it wasn't going to be a 5-star match.
Yeah,
I knew it was going to be
through John Cena versus Randy Orton.
Exactly. I knew that it was going to be, you were going to have maybe an RKO coming out of the AA, that you were going to have the...
You didn't know that. Don't say that.
You can figure that you're going to have a few of the spots. You're going to have the STFU. You're going to have reversals taking place. I thought that even though we've seen all of these before, we've seen the tackle go for the tackle RKO spot. We've seen that before. We've seen the RKO, the AA into the RKO before spot.
And then to close the event, John Cena cut his music off and said he doesn't need the fans, he needs competition.
Mm-hmm.
So it was good. It was well done.
I agree with you. It was completely good. It was well done. I think that people on the IWC is really dumb. I think that these people like Dave LaGreca ranting about it just sounds stupid.
Well, I don't want to call him
I don't know
dumb.
what they
I feel
expect.
like Dave does gimmick stuff, so I don't.
That's true. I think I agree with you. It is very gimmicky, but it just doesn't make sense why anybody would expect anything different from a matchup like this. You just have to let go and have fun. And they did awesome. This entire event was enjoyable, fun. It had so many spots. Even the final match with all of the ref spots that you had, it was just fun. And I'm okay with that. Great Backlash.
So moving to Monday Night Raw, it kicked off with CM Punk, who said he was mad at himself because he's been where he is before. Paul stabbed him in his back before. And when Paul Heyman came out, CM Punk called him the Penguin. I popped big time at that. A few people have said that on the internet, so I thought that was really funny that Punk said that. But he told Paul Heyman to get into the ring and explain to him why he did what he did. Then Seth Rollins came out, Braun Breaker came out, and he said Punk likes to play the victim. And then Seth Rollins sent Braun Breaker to the ring, which they brawled. Punk came in. Punk came back a bit. And Sami Zayn tried to make the save. And then finally Jey Uso came down and Sami grabbed a chair and chased him off. And it kind of looked like, I don't know.
Like Sami was going to turn?
Like it sets up a tag team match for Saturday night's main event. CM Punk and Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins. But when CM Punk spoke to Sami Zayn in the locker room, it kind of sounded like Sami Zayn was going to be joining Seth Rollins. They had him in that Plan B setup almost with that chair positioning. I don't know. I don't know. It really seemed like Sami Zayn could be joining Paul Heyman. Later on, Jey Uso came out and he spoke about Logan Paul, but Gunther showed up instead. And he told Jey Uso that he's just not a natural champion. And he announced that the winner of Jey Uso versus Logan Paul will then face Gunther on Monday Night Raw in Arizona in June. So when that match happens, maybe we'll see Goldberg. I was
kind of expecting Goldberg to come.
Yeah, I mean,
you really
thought 100%
you
Goldberg
really
was
pumping
showing
for
up
this
at
Goldberg.
Backlash. And then that didn't happen.
Yeah, it did not.
So maybe it does happen on Monday Night Raw in June. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see what happens in June. But
Braun Breaker attacked Jey Uso after that, so I assume, I don't know, because they have the tag team match. I don't know how that's going to work with Saturday night's main event. I think Jey Uso is facing Braun Breaker actually next week on Raw.
I don't remember.
I believe that's...
I don't remember if they announced anything.
I do think that's penciled in.
Yeah. Well, next up, you had Penta pick up the victory over Chad Gable. Solid, fun matchup.
Yeah, I liked this match. Chad Gable ripped at Penta's mask during this, which I feel like the internet doesn't necessarily watch other companies sometimes because they complain about spots like that. They don't realize that if you go back and watch a match of Penta's in Mexico, within maybe like a minute, his mask is already ripped. So I just think it's funny when people complain about that stuff. Meanwhile, I mean, it happens literally almost, not every match in Mexico, but it happens quite often. But I liked Chad Gable going for the diving headbutt and having it countered with the code breaker. Penta hit the Panama Sunrise version of the Mexican Destroyer and won the match with that. It's very surprising to see Penta win matches with the Destroyer now. Because rewind a few, I guess maybe a year or so ago, that wasn't the case. So I'm happy to see that. I don't know. I guess maybe he's changing. He's not doing the Penta driver anymore. I don't know why, but
I feel like he still is.
I don't know. I feel like we just keep seeing the Mexican Destroyer used as the finish.
Maybe he's just not overusing it.
I don't know.
Maybe he just started using it to get people behind the maneuver.
We'll see.
But next up, you had American Made pick up the victory over the War Raiders. And American Made, they're definitely continuing to make a name for themselves. War Raiders, slippery slope.
Not necessarily. I mean, New Day was out there doing commentary. And it's funny because as insincere as it sounded, I liked New Day hyping up American Made. with all their accolades and everything. So I thought that was cool. But at one point, New Day got involved, and that allowed for American Made to take over the match. They did the Doomsday Brutus Ball to Ivar to get that victory. And that makes them number one contenders. They'll face New Day for those titles.
And I think that it's going to be interesting. I feel like American Made have tag team champion, not contenders, but they could be tag team champions.
Yeah, I just don't see that happening anytime soon. I think the next tag team holders will be War Raiders again.
War Raiders.
Earlier in the night, we saw Dominic Mysterio.
It could be War Raiders and then flip it to American Made at some point.
I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see. We saw Dominic Mysterio backstage speak to Finn Balor about that hesitation at Backlash. And Finn Balor reminded him how paranoid Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley sounded when they were champions. A bit of gaslighting from Finn Balor to Dominic Mysterio. And then Dominic apparently doesn't know about time zones, so that part of the segment was really funny.
Mm-hmm.
So, because Liv Morgan's over in Japan, so he didn't get why it was light out when he was talking to her or whatever.
Yeah.
Really funny. But the match, we saw AJ Styles pick up the victory over Finn Balor. We had Carlito and JD McDonough ringside. Dominic wasn't there. And JD McDonough was the first distraction of the match. Both of them eventually got involved later on. AJ Styles took them out. Finn Balor hit the 1918 off of the distraction there. And Penta showed up and took the Judgment Day out. And then Penta did the Destroyer off JD's back to Carlito. And Finn Balor was distracted from all that. It allowed AJ Styles to hit the phenomenal forearm and get the victory. And then that leads to a tag team match for next week. Penta and AJ Styles versus JD McDonough and Finn Balor.
And I'm looking forward to this. I'm very interested to see the way that the Judgment Day and everything is going to play out. And also where Finn Balor is going to play into... Do you think he's going to still play into factor with everything?
They have to be leading to a breakup. Tough. They have to be. There are so many seeds planted for a breakup.
They've been planting the seeds for so long, too. It's usually, I feel like the seeds are always planted and the seeds always revolve around Finn Balor.
But I think, did you see images where were they talking to Roxanne Perez backstage in the background of segments? I think.
No, I didn't see that.
I'm almost certain there was a segment where they spoke to Roxanne backstage. Finn Balor maybe, or Dominic might have. I'm not 100% sure.
Huh.
After that, though, we saw Becky Lynch, and she said she wasn't the one beaten on Saturday. It was Lyra. She left her lying there and broken down, beaten up. She walked out on her own, and Lyra went to the hospital. And she said that when she stepped away, she did so because she felt the fans didn't want her there. And then she yelled and said everything that the IWC have been saying for weeks, maybe. And she's like, yeah, screw you. I am. I'm everything that you've been saying. And everyone in the back will know it, and they'll know how it feels to be held down. This was a good promo.
I agree.
After that, Akira Tozawa was backstage, and he tried to get a match with Rusev, but Adam Pearce was like, you're not even close to being cleared. So he wasn't allowing a match with Rusev. They ended up leaving. Sheamus showed up, and Sheamus pitched a match for him versus Grayson Waller next week, and Adam Pearce made that match. So we don't get Rusev every week, but we get, like, mentions of Rusev.
I'm okay with it.
I feel like Rusev should be on every week. I don't know.
Not so fast.
Main event of Monday Night Raw saw Io, Sky, and Rhea Ripley pick up the victory over Julia and Roxanne Perez. Fans were super hot for this match. Probably the loudest they were all night. Rightfully so. Match was, at times it was chaotic, but I don't think that took away from the actual match. It was very like go, go, go. But it wasn't one of those moments where I needed it to be slower.
Mm-hmm.
Rhea Ripley.
I thought that this match was great.
Yeah, I mean, that razor's edge that she hit on Roxanne looked brutal. Io at one point hit that moonsault, but Roxanne broke that up. And then Rhea Ripley used Io as a battering ram to dropkick Julia. I thought that was nice. Rhea at one point tags herself in. Julia somehow didn't realize it. I feel like that spot was done like right in front of her. But she ended up pushing Julia into a diving crossbody from Roxanne Perez, and I thought that was a very well done spot. And then Io held Rhea Ripley off with not Rhea, I forget who she, Roxanne. She had Roxanne in the submission move, and Rhea Ripley hit the riptide on Julia. So I thought that was a good finish of that match. Rhea Ripley looked at the title afterwards. She raised Io's arm and looked at the title. So
it's, I mean,
they're obviously
it's very similar to what. Yeah, very similar to what we saw happen on NXT too.
Yeah. Speaking of NXT, we had Miles Bourne kick the show off, and he said that he's used to people underestimating him, and he brought up being partially deaf. And he said that he wants to be judged by his abilities, not his disability. And even though he's the underdog at Battleground, he's fighting for all the kids who are struggling in their fight. And he's ready to shock the world. And that's when Ethan Page showed up and said that Miles Bourne won a battle royal on a fluke. He can't beat Obafemi. He's not on his level. And he told Miles to put the contendership on the line to prove that he belongs where he is. And, I mean, Miles Bourne, Charlie Dempsey said it's the perfect learning experience, so Miles Bourne accepted that.
I thought that this was a great promo. I thought that it was very meaningful. I thought that it was heartfelt and relatable to many people out there that may not have somebody that represents them on TV at all. So I thought this was awesome.
Yeah.
Well done by Miles Bourne.
And then it led right into the first match where we saw Obafemi pick up the victory over Charlie Dempsey. You knew how this was going. I think if this was an actual title match on a PLE, we would have gotten a much more exciting match from Charlie Dempsey. But what they did in this match, just it worked for what they were doing. For what they were going for, I guess. And then later on, we saw Ricky Saints and Ethan Page exchange words about the upcoming match. I thought we were going to see Ricky Saints in the match later on, where we saw Miles Bourne pick up the victory over Ethan Page. And it was very good to see a match like this from Miles, because we know Ethan Page is a former champion, and he does need a bigger push, I would say, to get to that Obafemi level. So, although, I mean, they did kind of make it look like it was like a fluke win for him in this also. So the match, for me at least, was good, but the ending, he hit the drop kick and a jackknife pin, and I don't think that needed to be the ending.
I thought it was a okay ending.
It just comes off as like another fluke, like Ethan Page is right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not the right ending to what the full match was. And I'm happy that Ricky Saints didn't show up, because I'm done with these distractions.
Yeah.
But Ricky Saints showed up and attacked Ethan Page later on.
Yeah.
We saw Wesley pick up the victory over Tony D'Angelo. We had Igwe and DuPont both get involved, which Tony temporarily took them out. Wes Lee came back until he told Tony that the next Don is going to be Stax, and that fired him up. He took Igwe and DuPont out again. Wes Lee went for that cardiac kick, and Tony speared him. I thought that was very, very well done there. That was a nice counter.
Yeah, nice. Mm-hmm.
But then Stax showed up on the screen, and he was at the safe house where Adriana Rizzo is. It just, that furthers that storyline. That distracted Tony. Wesley hit the kick, picks up the win. Tony drove out to the safe house. I don't know what kind of safe house is within driving distance like that for TV time. But like, I feel like a safe house should be like another state or something, or at least like 8 hours.
All of the ones I've been to have been pretty safe, you know.
Right. But yeah, so Stax attacked Tony D'Angelo when he got there, and we have that match for Battleground.
That's gonna be a solid one. Next up, you had Thea Hale pick up the victory over Tatum Paxley, but it was by disqualification. It was definitely a good back and forth match, but then Tatum Paxley DQ going for that, like just trying to rip out Thea Hale's eye.
Yeah. So this stemmed from a backstage segment earlier where Tatum Paxley was just throwing a bunch of stuff at her dollhouse and screaming about how everyone is leaving her, which in real life kind of hurts to hear that because we know they didn't leave. We know that that's not the actual case, but I like that they're tying that into the story. And I mean, Thea obviously didn't do anything wrong, but it led to this match, and it was a fun match. Thea Hale at one point locked Tatum Paxley in the Kimura, and like you said, she thumbed her in the eye. And then Tatum Paxley continued the attack after the match.
Yeah, it was just, she was really going after that eye.
So I'm looking forward to this new development of Tatum Paxley's character.
I agree. Next up, you had a TNA contract signing backstage with Ava as the mediator. You had Joe Hendry with Trick Williams. Trick Williams, I mean, both of them cutting their promo back and forth. Trick Williams signing his name, passing it on over. Ava making sure he actually signed it, and then Joe Hendry signing it.
I was surprised.
I thought this was a good promo.
I was surprised this didn't take place in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked Ava naming former champion. She dropped AJ Styles, Kurt Angle. Very weird hearing her say former TNA champion LA Knight and Bubba Ray Dudley. Because obviously we know Eli Drake and Bully Ray. But it was cool to hear them included in that. But Trick said that he's bigger than TNA. And at Battleground, he's going to take Joe Hendry's fame. He's going to take the title. He's going to take the brand. I liked Joe getting in Trick's head by saying that there's no path back to the NXT Championship, and once Battleground is over, there's no path back to the TNA, or there's no path to the TNA Championship. So
that's it.
So his 15 minutes are going to expire, and next week we get a Joe Hendry concert, and we get Trick Williams a rap performance. I'm here for it.
I think that Trick Williams is going to come up to the main roster and be a hit right away.
We'll see.
You know?
Earlier in the night, we saw Stephanie Vicor, and she said that she respects Jordan Grace's journey, but she was cut off by Fatal Influence, and JC Jane and Fallon Henley went back and forth with each other, but they spoke about taking the title from Stephanie. And then Jordan Grace came out and pointed out Fatal Influence not being on the same page. And she's there to protect her investment, which Stephanie got annoyed at. But Stephanie said that Jordan failed the last time and she's going to fail again. And nobody is going to stop that from happening. I don't think this was a super strong segment. And I really don't want to see Stephanie lose the title.
I don't think she should right now.
So the main event, we saw Stephanie Vicaire and Jordynne Grace pick up the victory over Fatal Influence, which I thought it was a good match, but that segment, I don't think I 100% needed to see this. I don't have any complaints about the match, but I didn't need to see it. Mm-hmm. Jordynne Grace took bullets for Stephanie, which she mentioned she's there to protect her investment. If Jordynne Grace doesn't win the championship, I don't know where she goes from there. I don't know if Stephanie's just one of those wrestlers that are just so hot that they're like, we need to have her up on the main roster already. I don't know if that's more so the case, and then Jordynne Grace wins the championship.
I wouldn't bring her. There's too much
on the
main roster.
If they call up Vicaire, I don't know where she goes.
I mean, you already have Julia and Roxanne Perez pretty much teetering on main roster. You know?
I think officially.
I would not. Yeah. Vicaire has to stay in NXT right now, because if they bring up Julia and Perez like it looks like it's going to end up potentially, they need Vicaire down there. I wouldn't put Grace as the champion right now.
But also, SmackDown severely needs something with their women's division. After releasing all the women, the tag team division took such a hit. The mid-card division took such a hit. So I wouldn't be surprised, but I would like to see Stephanie retain that title.
Mm-hmm.
So that's NXT. Moving over to SmackDown. It kicked off with Bloodline, where Solo Sikoa welcomed Jeff Cobb. And he said that Roman Reigns ruined everything, ruined the family when he lost to Cody Rhodes. And Solo's going to win the Money in the Bank. He's going to take that back. And Jacob Fatu took the mic from Solo, reminded him that he said that he was going to do what he did with or without Solo Sikoa. Kind of got heated there. But LA Knight showed up. He pulled Jeff Cobb out of the ring. They're calling him JC Mateo now instead of Jeff Cobb. I don't know if I like that at all, but that's what we're running with here. You got Alexa Bliss picking up the victory over Chelsea Green and Mia Yim to qualify for the Money in the Bank ladder match. Chelsea Green, I think, was an MVP from last year's match, so I was hoping to see her in the match. I was also finding it very difficult to not see Alexa Bliss winning this match. Mia Yim would have been badass in the Money in the Bank ladder match. I know that 100%. But Chelsea, at the beginning of the match, kept comedically getting taken out. And I think this match was very entertaining. Alexa Bliss hit Twisted Bliss, and Chelsea Green pulled her off. She hit the Unpretty Heart, and then Alexa Bliss pulled Mia Yim out of the ring, got back in, hit Sister Abigail DDT, and picked up the victory there. And then later on, Alexa Bliss spoke to Charlotte, and Alexa was like, she reminded Flair that when she first got to NXT, Flair was nice to her, and Flair was like a don't care attitude sort of thing. She's like, I don't remember that at all. And then Julia came out of Nick Aldis' office, and he announced that she's now on SmackDown, so disregard what we were talking about earlier, pre-recorded. And Charlotte told Alexa Bliss basically to stay out of her way, because she doesn't need her. I think we're going to end up seeing Alexa Bliss. She has to get some sort of revenge on Charlotte there. But after that, we saw Fraxium pick up the victory over DIY. Fast-paced. This was a very, very entertaining match. This was, quite frankly, probably the best match on SmackDown. This is what tag team wrestling should be. Every week on TV, 100% it should be this. Use this as a blueprint. This was a great match. Fraxium did that superplex Falcon Arrow spot with the super kick. And then Ciampa broke up that pin with an incredible knee. And he tried to take Axiom's mask off. And I guess basically from that, kind of cost him the match. Axiom got that quick win over Gargano. And then they beat them down after the match. Motor City Machine Guns ran down to make the save. And then the Street Profits told Fraxium that next week they're getting their title shot. We had a sit-down interview with R-Truth and Wade Barrett, and R-Truth was still putting John Cena over. And he said that John Cena at that press conference, that's not the John Cena he knows. And the John Cena he knows wouldn't be talking about ruining pro wrestling. And then he said that if he has to beat sense back into John Cena, he'll do it. And a match is set up for Saturday night's main event. So again, like I said, disregard what we were talking about earlier. But I'm pumped for that. So, or later, I forget when we have that in the show. After that, Aleister Black picked up the victory over Carmelo Hayes via disqualification. The Miz, before the match, tried to hype Carmelo Hayes up, and Carmelo Hayes cut him off and cut his own promo. And then during the match, the Miz threw Carmelo Hayes back into the ring before Aleister Black could hit a moonsault. He eventually did hit that spot. And Miz pulled Aleister Black's leg, which the referee saw. And Carmelo Hayes rolled him up, sort of like last week, but he kicked out. And they kept going. Miz ends up attacking Aleister Black. He was setting up for that Black Mass, and Miz took him out. And then after the match, the Miz ate a Black Mass, and Carmelo Hayes attacked him. Hit nothing but net. So Carmelo Hayes looks incredibly strong coming out of that segment. It was also announced later on in the night that we have Nakamura versus LA Knight versus Aleister Black for a qualifier match for the Money in the Bank. You had Drew McIntyre. Earlier in a video, Damian Priest said that their feud needs to end and then challenged him to a cage match at Saturday night's main event. Drew came out and accepted that challenge. I would like to see weapons in that cage match to actually make it more brutal than a cage match, I guess, and actually put a solid end to their feud. But you had Solo Sikoa pick up the victory over Fenix and Jimmy Uso to qualify for the Money in the Bank ladder match. Was not a fan of that outcome. But the Secret Hervis and B-Fab were banned from ringside earlier. I don't know why Jeff Cobb and Jacob Fatu were allowed to be there. And as far as this match, it wasn't as entertaining as the women's qualifier. Solo at one point towards the beginning of the match tried to throw up the bloodline finger and tried to work with Jimmy. Jimmy wasn't having that. And they did a lot in this match, but I just wasn't into it. Jacob Fatu at one point, he took Jimmy out. Jeff Cobb got involved. And really, ultimately, off of that stuff, Solo Sikoa was able to hit the Samoan Spike on Rey Fenix and pick up the win. And then LA Knight showed up, attacked the bloodline, and Nick Aldis told everyone to stand down. Sets up Jeff Cobb versus LA Knight, and I thought that was going to be for Saturday night's main event. But it was on SmackDown. Jeff Cobb beat LA Knight. And I think it was a good showcase of Cobb's strength. The match, though, was kind of dull. And as crazy as it sounds, I feel like... I almost feel like this storyline is missing Braun Strowman. I don't know. It's unfortunate. But I will say that the tour of the islands off that springboard shoulder block that LA Knight was about to do, that was dope. I thought that was a really cool part of the match. Santos Escobar, after that, spoke to Angel and asked him if he's heard from Humberto. And he said that he probably needs time. And Escobar said, well, I need you to find him, bring him home, because I have an opportunity. And it'll put our names where it belongs. Part of me thinks that this could potentially maybe be the introduction of Los Garza getting a match at the AAA event coming up in June. Maybe. I could be way off. Who knows? But the main event of SmackDown saw Tiffany Stratton pick up the victory over Nia Jax to retain the championship. The first half of this match, I don't know what it was, but it lacked something for me. I like that Hurricane Rana that Tiffany Stratton hit off the barricade into the ring post. Tiffany Stratton hitting the spine buster on Nia Jax, I think, was a good move. But Naomi, earlier in the night, when Nia Jax was backstage, she was in the background lurking. So I figured there was going to be some sort of Naomi spot during this match. Naomi showed up with a chair. Jade Cargill came out and they brawled off. Nia Jax kicked out of the prettiest moonsault ever. And they said that nobody's ever done that. And Nia Jax pushed Tiffany Stratton to the outside, cleared off the commentary table to hit a Samoan drop on it, and then she got her back in the ring, went for an annihilator. Tiffany Stratton popped up to try to powerbomb Nia Jax off the ropes, and Nia Jax instead basically hits a standing annihilator. And you think maybe, first of all, her feet looked like they were under the ropes, but you think maybe that's about to be a 3 count, and Tiffany Stratton grabbed the rope. And that part of this was an exciting part of the match, 100%. And Nia Jax left the ring, grabbed the title, put the title in the ring, which distracted the referee. She grabbed the chair that Naomi had, and then Tiffany Stratton drop kicked the chair into Nia Jax. She got busted open. The referee turns around, Nia Jax covered in blood. But Tiffany Stratton hits the prettiest moonsault ever, picks up the win, retains the championship. I like I said, the first half of this match lacked something. I don't know what it was, but what a closing. That was a very, very entertaining close to the match. That's SmackDown. Going to take a quick little break right now, and I'll be right back here on Markin Out.
This is Lance Storm, and if I can be serious for a minute, you're listening to Marking Out.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Markin Out 745. No collision from last week. It happened on Thursday. Covered it last week. Moving to AEW Dynamite from this week. It kicked off with Hangman Adam Page and Will Ospreay picking up the victory over the Don Callis family. I would have liked to have seen more contempt from Hangman, because last we saw he did not really want to be in this match. There were angry eyes from him throughout it. They were doing literal tag team moves, so it didn't come across as him not really wanting to be in this match. At one point, towards the end, Hangman tagged himself in. Almost hit Will Ospreay with the buckshot. And then Will Ospreay, to try to make the save with that, almost hits Hangman with the hidden blade. I like that spot. It's the can they coexist sort of thing. Obviously, it works for this sort of match. Then, to close the match, they did a buckshot, lariat, and hidden blade combo to win. I thought that was a great finish of this match. The match was very much so go, 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 and it was very predictable. The finish was very cool, like I said. But I feel like the match could have been shorter, maybe slower, to give us more suspense between the two of them. We know they have a big match coming up at Double or Nothing. You had the Don Callis family attack them after the match. Will Ospreay fought them off. Hangman grabbed him from behind, and then Will Ospreay elbowed him. Obviously, or not obvious, but obviously not thinking it was him. I feel like we just saw that the other week with Daniel Garcia and Nigel McGuinness. Kinda. You had Ricochet, and I'll put a pin in that. We had Ricochet pick up the victory over Zach Gowen. Commentary really tried to sell like Zach Gowen needed his leg, and Ricochet taking his leg was one of the worst things possible because he needs his leg so badly. Meanwhile, Zach Gowen, he's out there doing everything with one leg. And it's not like anything has changed with Zach Gowen. He still is on point with everything he's doing. So it was very nice to see Zach Gowen on this episode of AEW Dynamite. Afterwards, or not afterwards, during the match, Ricochet went to use the scissors on Zach Gowen. The referee stopped it. And then Zach Gowen used his leg to get the almost victory there. I don't think that was ever in the cards for Zach Gowen, but the spot makes sense to me. But Zach Gowen misses his moonsault. Ricochet hits that spirit gun, picks up the victory. And then he hits it again. And then he needs Zach Gowen. And Mark Briscoe randomly ran down to make the save. They spun it as Mark Briscoe and Zach Gowen have so much history together. I don't know how much history they have together. We had the Hurt Business pick up the victory over Top Flight. Before this match, MVP told MJF to join them in the ring. Given what MJF did to Top Flight last week, this match should have been maybe 2 minutes. Despite how much I like Top Flight, and I think that they deserve so much better than what they've been having recently, the story is that we didn't need a comeback from Top Flight. We didn't need them to have the upper hand at all throughout the match, and thankfully the match, that just wasn't it. It was them mostly, for the most part, getting hurt. Lashley kept the Hurt Lock locked on after the match. And then Dustin Rhodes laid out a challenge without actually saying it. He basically challenged them for the tag team championships, which I hate, the fact that they're already tag team champions of Ring of Honor, and Dustin's also a trios champion in Ring of Honor. But let me fight for the tag team titles too. I hate that. But Crew came out, basically told them to get to stepping. They also challenged the Hurt Business. Dustin said that they're not going to be the ones to cut the line. They showed up first. They want the titles. MVP basically said, go fight it out. MJF was then supposed to come out. For some reason, he was a chicken, hiding behind Tony Khan. And Tony Khan's so goofy, like pointing at him. He's right here. He's right here. I hated that spot. I thought that was so goofy. I don't think that was needed at all. I don't know why MJF all of a sudden would be a chicken. We've seen him for weeks, for weeks trying to join the Hurt Business. And now when he's almost at that moment where he can possibly maybe join the Hurt Business, I'm a chicken. I'm hiding behind Tony Khan. That didn't make any sense to me. Lashley finally gives him the thumbs up. They teased Shelton Benjamin attacking MJF from behind until Lashley actually gave the thumbs up. But next week, they're going to do a contract signing. People think it's leading to Cedric Alexander showing up in AEW. If it is, I hope he's getting a ton of money after what Tony said about his wife. A ton of money. After that, Mina Shirakawa picked up the victory over Toni Storm, Sky Blue, and Azumi to get a title shot. I really hate that Sky Blue, she's been out injured for almost a year. And returns to this. And then I see Mina Shirakawa and Azumi in this, and I can't help but think that this was lazily booked after seeing their match with Mercedes. Regardless of whether or not that's what actually happened, that's what it seemed like. This match, though, I will say was much better than the Eliminator match from last week. But still, it's just lazy. Very lazy. And anyone who couldn't see Mina Shirakawa, she just signed to AEW. Anyone who couldn't see her making her official in-ring debut for AEW once as a signed employee of the company, if you couldn't see her winning this, then you're, no offense, just dumb. The writing's on the wall. Mercedes showed up afterwards and attacked Azumi. Jamie Hayter made the save and locked Mercedes in the submission. This very much so overbooked, like last week. Nigel McGuinness came out to be interviewed by Tony Schiavone, and he called Daniel Garcia out to apologize. And Daniel Garcia said there's nothing to apologize for. You did what you were supposed to do. And Daniel Garcia said that he's going, with or without Nigel, he's going to fight FTR. But it would be an honor to fight with him. Stokely interrupted and said that there's going to be repercussions for what Nigel did last week, and his punishment should be getting in the ring with FTR. Stokely also said that FTR was not there. So at that moment in time, what was stopping Daniel Garcia and Nigel McGuinness from just beating down Stokely? I didn't get that. But Daniel Garcia gave Nigel a pep talk. In order for him to maybe accept that match, FTR attacked both of them from behind. Matt Menard came out with a crowbar again, and FTR dipped. End of that segment. You had Jon Moxley in the main event pick up the victory over Samoa Joe in a cage match to retain the AEW Championship. Boring main event. Very boring. Tons of blood from Moxley for no reason. The Death Riders showed up. Will Hobbs showed up. Willow showed up. Someone in a hoodie passed the briefcase to Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley used it on Samoa Joe. And then Gabe Kidd revealed that it was Gabe Kidd. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. This was not a good main event. As goofy as it was, the Eliminator match was probably the best thing on this episode. But they beat Hobbs down afterwards. They beat Willow down. Claudio even threw Willow into the barricade. The Bucks showed up. They clapped. Kenny Omega came out and took out Wheeler Yuta, took out Claudio. Okada showed up. Attacked Kenny Omega. Speedball randomly in the background of the TV. You could barely see Speedball. They locked. They had the cage get lowered again. It was Kenny. It was Joe. The Elite gave Kidd to Death Riders. They're beating them down. Swerve came out, climbs the cage, takes everyone out like Rey Mysterio making his debut July 25th, 2002 episode of SmackDown. And it led to a challenge for Anarchy in the arena. It's just overbooked. It's lazy. So that's AEW Dynamite. Hey, Brennan, got any shout-outs?
Hey there, pal. It's me, Mickey Mouse, and you're listening to Brandon Shout-Outs.
The first shout-out goes to Conan O'Brien Must Go, which is back for Season 2 right now on Max. If you tune in at another time, it might be HBO Max since they're switching back after 2 years, which I think is hilarious. I think they should have never rebranded in the first place. I saw rumors saying that it was just one executive that fought for them to change to Max. So they will be switching back to HBO Max. But Conan...
To me, this has always been HBO Max.
I don't think so.
Like, well, not always. Since the switch over, I've always called it HBO Max.
I think you're
HBO
rewriting
Max.
your own history here.
Tell me.
What do you mean, tell you? I feel like you don't say
How?
HBO Max.
I usually, if I'm talking about HBO, I'm talking about HBO. But I don't know, maybe if I'm talking about the demand, I'm talking about HBO, period. I mean, even if I go on
Max,
HBO
though?
Max.
Do you watch Max?
What's the difference? I go on HBO's demand.
You're using your TV. That's not HBO Max.
And the computer.
If you're going to Max.com, you're on Max.
Yeah, so I use that.
So
HBO. It's HBO's website.
It's not HBO's website. It's if you have more than just HBO on there.
I mean, so then it's HBO Max, but it's been HBO Max then.
But I thought it was the dumbest name switch ever because you took the main selling point of your company and you're like, let's just make it Max. Who's Max? Who'd he ever beat? Mm-hmm. But back to Conan O'Brien Must Go. He's out there, and I think it just makes a perfect travel show. So if you like Conan, I'm sure you saw season 1. I'm sure you've seen his other travel shows, and I think it's just enjoyable. And I know that this new season is going to go by in a flash which is a major downside. It's only 3 episodes. The first season was only 4 episodes. So these 2 seasons combined, for me at least, could have been a half season. So, but it's renewed for a 3rd season. Hopefully that's not 2 episodes. I don't know why they chose to only do 3 episodes, but if you enjoy Conan O'Brien...
That seems so random.
Yeah, I want more because it's a really good show. And then honestly, my next 2 shout-outs are borderline anti-shout-outs, I feel like.
Oh, I love my anti-shout-outs. Do it.
The first one's going to the movie Love Hurts. Did you know?
Oh, no, don't do it.
Did you
don't
watch
do it.
this movie?
Skip. No, but I want to. It's on my... I'm going to watch it on not HBO Max.
You're
no,
definitely
HBO
not going to be
Max,
watching
not
it
HBO.
on HBO because it's on Peacock.
Oh, that's the one I was going to watch it on.
Yeah, it's on Peacock. But it came out
Yeah.
in February.
Don't spoil it.
Just in time for Valentine's Day. I'm not going to spoil it, but
It looks good.
brother, I was looking forward to this based on that trailer. And I don't know. It's just it's so below whatever my expectations were.
What do you mean? He's like a 007 agent that went into hiding or something.
It's all trailer. Ke Huy Quan is a former assassin. He's now a real estate agent. And he gets sucked back into whatever his past was when he finds out that his brother's hunting him. But the trailer was great.
How is this not good?
The trailer was great. Ariana DeBose also stars in it. I think Marshawn Lynch, whenever I see him in a project, he always knocks it out of the park. Acting-wise, I always see him. He's, very good. Sean Astin is also in it, so we get a little Goonies reunion there. But, I mean...
How is this not...
Dude,
that's so disappointing.
Based on that trailer, it was a great movie. Based on the actual movie, it lacked.
I actually thought about seeing that in the movie theater, too.
I pitched it as well, going to see it in the theaters. And I'm like...
I thought for sure that was going to be a great movie to see.
I mean, maybe you'll watch it and have a completely different opinion, but...
It's true. Me and you do have different opinions a good amount.
I was very, very disappointed. But we're agreeing. The trailer looks great, so... I don't know.
That sucks.
And then my last shout out is for the movie Summer of '69, which is a brand new movie out on Hulu. It was written and directed by Jillian Bell, and as an actor, I like Jillian Bell, but this movie...
Who is she?
She's a comedic actress.
I don't know.
This movie, for me, just was not it. And the plot is...
Not the Jillian from Community, right?
No, that's Gillian.
Oh, okay. I knew that there was a confusion with her name.
But
okay, Gillian.
The plot for this movie is super out there, where it stars Chloe Fineman, Sam Morales, and Matt Cornett, Charlie Day and Natalie Morales, and Alex Moffat. You have Paula Pell, Nicole Byer. It's a great comedy cast. I'm shocked that there are some really good reviews of this. But
how did this not land for you? This is another one where
Tomatoes,
I saw that
on Rotten Tomatoes, it's got very high scores.
I think I saw the trailer for this because I do think I like Chloe Fineman, and I saw the trailer and I'm like, oh, this looks really interesting and good.
Yeah, Sam's character has a crush on a guy for her whole life, so she hires a stripper to teach her confidence and how to be sexy and stuff. But I think it was lacking a lot. There are just a million other movies in that genre that are better. Like American Pie, Superbad, Easy A, Sex Drive. Did I feel like I was wasting my time watching both of those movies? Kind of.
I never liked those ones that you listed.
What do you mean?
Well,
American
Easy A
Pie?
and Sex Drive.
Sex Drive was
American
great.
Pie is
Easy
classic.
A was also great.
Nah.
And Superbad.
The Girl
American
Next Door
Pie,
was
those
good.
Are top of the line movies, but this I felt like I was
American Pie
wasting my time.
I'm going to toss one out there too. The Girl Next Door.
Yeah, that's also up there.
That was a good one.
But again, like I said, maybe you'll watch these movies and enjoy them.
Yeah.
So those are my shout outs. Now it's time for
Mark Out Moment of the Week.
That is right, our Mark Out Moment of the Week. I gotta say that during Backlash, when they showed footage of John Cena versus Randy Orton from their first singles match in OVW, I thought that was really cool. I popped for that. It was different than the match that I spoke about last week. And it was very unexpected to see that. Hearing them like say OVW on TV is very surreal to me always. Mm-hmm. Always very, very surreal to hear that. I also have a mark out for having Road Dogg, R-Truth, and Conan interact with the tweet that I posted because of a license plate that I saw that started with 3LK. I was a big fan of that group in TNA, so I tweeted it out, and I didn't expect them to interact with it, but they did, and I mean, R-Truth even responded and then got put through a damn table. He started his night out for Backlash by tweeting us about 3LK, and then ended it interrupting John Cena at the press conference getting put through a table.
Yeah.
What a night.
What a night for sure. Since you mentioned it, him getting put through the table. R-Truth. I've been pitching it for so long.
Oh my.
That I still need this. I need this. Brandon, you don't get it. I need this. I need John Cena to bloody him up.
You know what I need?
I need him to bloody him up, and then I need him to bloody up little Jimmy.
I need R-Truth to win that championship.
Now, Brandon. Now. Think about the IWC.
Tell me that wouldn't be like the greatest thing ever, though.
No. I need him to bloody him.
You don't think it would be great if R-Truth, like, John Cena goes into this match at Saturday Night's Main Event, assuming that it's at Saturday Night's Main Event, and it just happens to happen, like, R-Truth gets the quick win or something like that?
I need to see a promo from R-Truth thinking that he's going to be there for Sunday Night Heat.
If R-Truth doesn't, I mean, he's definitely not winning the championship, but I would like to see something where John Cena gets counted out like Billy Graham did, and Dusty Rhodes thought he won the championship at Madison Square Garden. I would like to see R-Truth think that he won the championship in that segment.
Mm-hmm. On the same thing, I marked out for R-Truth being interviewed by Chris Van Vliet. I've been marking out for so many of these interviews, and I mark out every time that R-Truth is interviewed because he just seems like such a cool character, like cool person. I was
going to say cool cat.
Yeah, cool cat. Yeah. So I marked out for listening to his episode.
On Family Guy this week, the principal was trying to get Chris into sports, and when it came to wrestling, Chris showed up in Matt Classic gear, and he alluded to pro wrestling being the only kind of wrestling that he cares about. And then the principal puts on an Excalibur mask and said that he's into it too. Colt Cabana's brother works for Family Guy, so that's how that happened. But they didn't mention Matt Classic. They didn't mention Excalibur. They didn't mention Colt Cabana, AEW. So if you're not a wrestling fan, you would just think those were generic masks. I think it was a great Easter egg. I don't think it was a crossover like they keep saying.
What? It wasn't a crossover of AEW and Family Guy?
Like, that was very clearly not a crossover. A crossover, you see the Jetsons on the Flintstones and vice versa. That was an Easter egg.
This was not
your brother. Yeah, your
this
brother
was not a crossover.
Got you an Easter egg.
Yeah,
I don't know what had to go into that. Colt Cabana said that there were so many, like, so much went into getting that cleared. I don't know what could possibly.
What, like
they had to convince Seth and Fox? I have no idea. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. It was definitely not a crossover. It was a cool moment in wrestling history, but not a crossover.
Mm-hmm.
On American Idol this past week, The Rock appeared. It was a Disney week, so he was with Jelly Roll. I like that they were saying it's rock and roll. I thought that was funny. But Ian Tongi performed Hawaiian Roller Coaster from the new Lilo and Stitch movie, and The Rock was there. I don't necessarily know why he was there, but I think it was still cool to see him on American Idol like that. Mm-hmm. And then, like I spoke about last week, the first drop of the DLC for WWE 2K25 came out this week. I'm still just in awe that we have Motor City Machine Guns in the video game. Literally after years of having to download created superstars that don't quite look like them. So I'm happy about that. Stephanie Vicaire is in the set. Julia's in the set. All of them have been fun to use. They had a celebrity in this group, which they left nameless, and it's not in the pack right now. It's to be announced at a later date. I don't know what happened there. The rumors were Travis Scott. We don't know. And because it didn't come out when it was supposed to, they gave us 12,500 VC points, which does not at all make up for part of the DLC pack not coming out. You can't do anything with that. So that's very annoying.
Yeah, and I'm gonna add another one was Xavier Woods and Kenny Omega going head to head promo wise at that video game convention
and playing each other. Kenny, I think, is 2-0 on Xavier Woods.
Woods, what a disgrace! Jeez. Oh, and I marked out again for the Righteous. I know I mentioned it last week with Markin Out, Mark Out Moment, but I marked out for the Righteous.
There's 3 promos out there now.
Yeah, they posted one, I believe, today that I have to watch, but they posted one a few days ago, and Karrion Kross was right up there responding to them. And these promos are just, they give me such an they give me a vibe of the Wyatt family, even though I know it's not. But I get that kind of a vibe at times.
When they debuted that in AEW, everyone was calling them knockoff Wyatts, so I do hope that it's nothing like the Wyatts.
Yeah, I see it now more of a like a Charlie Manson kind of a deal.
Wow, I mean,
like not like the Wyatt family, but
that was kind of Wyatt.
Yeah,
Bray even did that promo as Charles Manson.
True. This one I feel like is more of the hippie vibe.
Cult.
I don't know. It's very similar but different. Like that's the thing. It's very similar but very different too. I'm looking forward to it. If anything is true with it.
So those are the Mark Out moments of the week, and that is episode 745. Thank you so much for tuning in. You could check us out on Twitter at Markin Out, at BTTG161 on all platforms. Chris Sweeney Dog, CM Sweeney 85, David PTDPT, Facebook.com/Markin Out, YouTube and Instagram are Markin Out 11, ProWrestlingTees.com/Markin Out to get some merch over there. You could follow us on TikTok at Markin Out. You could rate, review, and subscribe Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube, markinout.com. We wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors.